Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
Never miss a moment of the truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2026. And for those of you that are involved, engaged, and interested, happy Pride Month to all of the Pride people and all of the gays and the rainbows and riding on the unicorns. And every time you exhale, glitter comes out of your mouth. I'm going to take some deep dives today and hopefully provide what I'm hoping is a better understanding of where this insane society is. Everything now is at a place where it's hardly recognizable, and we are all going through this new and very unusual, unconventional era in American history and American politics and American society together. And we are kind of just figuring out as we go. You know, I could spend an entire show just on the things that this current president in his second term has done, has said, has gotten away with, and some of the permanent changes to American politics that I think even Democrats will adhere to, because if you can get away with certain things, if the goalpost on acceptability has been moved so far, I don't know if the Democrats are likely to move that goalpost back. So a lot of things are changing, and it's hard to conceptualize why, how far are things going to go. And so whenever things seem to be just kind of spiraling out of control and we can't apply just like general objective knowledge to, well, what the hell is going on? Why are people acting this way? We're noticing these major upticks in violence. This weekend was horrendous. I don't talk about the shootings and the killings and the murders and the shootings and the killings, because if I do that, then that is likely what my show is going to become. And then we will lose, all the other elements that I think make this show somewhat interesting, kind of entertaining, and hopefully engaging, because I just don't want to be stuck on who's getting harmed in the shootings, et cetera, et cetera. There's a much bigger situation at play, and I want to try and analyze that, because then it can hopefully better explain some of these aspects of violence. But this weekend was one that is really tough to ignore, and there's one that hit particularly close to home for me. But also, I don't want to get bogged down in the individual incidents. I want to look at a much bigger picture as to why the situations are happening the way they're happening. So there was a shooting at a child's birthday party at Center Park, which is on 64th and Center. So that's also a dividing line between Milwaukee and Wauwatosa. And a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, who moved from the city of Milwaukee. In fact, they live right across the street from an elementary school called Niskara. Niskara is a notoriously low-performing elementary school within the MPS system. And my friend lived directly across the street, and she had an elementary school-age child at the time, but simply refused to send her child to that school. So she exercised school choice and did something very thoughtful, which a lot of parents do, because it's not the primary obligation of a parent to make sure your child has the best shot at life possible, even if you make a decision that might be expensive or risky or unpopular. She sent her child to St. Sebastian's, which is a stone's throw away from Niskara, which is a low-performing public school. She opted to send her child to that private school. I don't fault her for that. She was looking out for the best interest of her child. And then high school was coming around very, very quickly, and she, a single mother, had to make the very tough decision on what high school to pick. Now, living in the city of Milwaukee, you have options, but are those options suitable enough for a parent that wants to do the best by their child? Because one of the major complaints that we have on this show and others is that parents are not raising their kids, they're not taking care of their kids, leaving us, the rest of society, and the streets to raise the kids. But every so often, I like to think more often than not, there are some parents who are trying to do right by us as a society and a community, and also by their children, so that their children don't go wayward and then they become our problem, you see. So this friend of mine found a place to live right in the vicinity of, literally facing Center Park, which is roughly 64th and between 64th and 65th Street, between Center and Clark. That is the Wauwatosa border. So she was lucky, and she found a place to rent just inside the Wauwatosa border where she could send her son to a Wauwatosa public school. Now, thankfully, she nor her son were home when shots rang out, killing a young man at a child's birthday party right there at Center Park. When I say it's literally in front of my friend's house, who moved from the city of Milwaukee into Wauwatosa to give her child the best shot at getting a high-quality education. Let me do a little side note real quick. I resent to the highest degree when people, I expect it from white folks, because my expectation for them is low, especially when it comes to their social understanding of black people, because they were kept from so much history that would have better informed them, not just about us, but even about themselves and the atrocities that they committed in the name of preserving whiteness. So I got a real low standard for white people. And I say that because every time I post the the housing covenants that created the majority white suburbs. And when people read that language, you got white people that are in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s that had no idea that there was actual law that said no colored persons, no people of the Negro race can live in West Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, West Allis, Franklin, Cudahy, South Milwaukee for a prescribed period of time. In fact, if you were white and you lived in one of those areas, and if you sold or rented your property to someone who was not of the white race, they would confiscate your house. I posted the housing covenants because there was a story that appeared over the weekend about an affordable housing unit that was being built in Whitefish Bay, and all of the white people in the comments didn't disappoint because they rarely do. There goes the neighborhood. I didn't pay all this money to live in Whitefish Bay to have these monkeys and these animals move out here. And then I posted that housing covenant from Whitefish Bay that said for a period of a quarter century or more, no people of a colored race can live in Whitefish Bay. And then if you think about that longitudinally, if we were kept out of suburbs, where the value of property escalated, where the quality of the public schools were better. And do you see how that over time can put black people and black children at a little bit of a deficit? It's not the end all be all for black people because we're going to find a way to be successful. But the fact that they had to use laws to keep us out of real estate is sinister. And when I post this stuff, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. If you didn't know this, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you didn't know either. And so I keep my expectation of white people low. But when a black person speaks negatively about a neighborhood only because they hear the street name and the cross streets, like, that's a bad neighborhood. Why is it bad? Why? What makes it bad? Because there's people that live in that neighborhood that are working their ass off, that want to provide a better life for themselves and their children, and that's all they can afford? Is everybody bad who lives in that neighborhood just because you hear the cross streets? How impacted by the media are we as black people that we hear cross streets or, Center Street, or, it's in the lower street numbers. Oh, that's a bad neighborhood. So everybody's bad? You think the people that live in those neighborhoods and have lived there for 20 years and 30 years without incident, they're all murderers and killers? They all just steal from each other? We got to stop that. Again, I expect that from white people because I just have no standard for them. Because whenever I have a standard for white folks, they disappoint me. Every time I lower the bar, and they still find a way to get underneath it. So I just had to make that clear. I personally, y'all can say whatever you want, but I personally resent when someone hears, it happened over on this street, or, it happened on this side of town. That's a bad neighborhood. Don't disrespect hardworking people like that, and don't lump them all together, because here's what's crazy. The same black folks that will say that will defy every stereotype and will get mad when those black people, get lumped in with the worst of us. And so I just had to do a little side note on how much I resent that. But the situation that took place at Center Park is one that hit a little bit too close to home for me, because I have a friend that lived literally right, like looking out of her window, she can see Center Park, and she did that and moved to that area because she thought it was nicer, it was better, and it was safer. And it's a terribly unfortunate thing that took place. So I got a lot I'm going to discuss today. I want to tie some things together that hopefully it'll give us a new lens in which to interpret just how haywire things are going. And if you want to look at like a barometer of where we may be going locally. Now, it's not a one-to-one correlation, but I do want to give you some things to kind of keep your eye on, because then there will be impacts and repercussions and noticeable negative changes here locally. Washington, D.C. might as well be on another planet, but if there's inconsistency and corruption and dysfunction in Washington, D.C., because it's a gigantic bureaucracy that is designed to collect money and resources from everywhere, not just tax dollars from the American people, but wherever we can get resources. It could be cobalt from Africa, it could be diamonds from somewhere else, to collect resources and to distribute that money to the states so that states can have an education system, so that states can have hospitals and clinics. That is what the federal government does. It's a large clearinghouse. Now, it also is involved in things like national defense and diplomacy and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the federal government is where states' checks go to clear. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. So when there's dysfunction in our large bureaucratic banking system, because the federal government gives money to the states, and when Donald Trump comes in and he interrupts the amount of money that's going to states for health care, for cancer research, highway funds, if there's a Democratic governor that may have been against Donald Trump when he was running for reelection, Donald Trump will cut those funds. And if you cut funds to states, especially blue states that have big blue cities, urban areas are expensive to run. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people. Of course, there's a lot of crime, but there's also a lot of money that is made and a lot of houses that are purchased, et cetera, et cetera. Do you follow where I'm going now? So when Donald Trump interrupts that flow of money, what you're going to see locally is an increase of negative behaviors, an increase of crime, more drug use, more drug abuse, because you're interrupting the money that states use to mitigate those issues, especially in their complicated urban areas. The governor oversees that money. They create a budget with the state legislature. We vote for our legislators to oversee the money that we don't just collect from people here paying income taxes, but the money we get from the federal government. That is why we have a budget surplus now. That's Joe Biden money. Joe Biden gave us that money. That's what the federal government does. And so when that flow of money is interrupted, we also see service interruptions and behavioral interruptions here locally. Okay, I said my piece. I'm going to take a break, come back. I see Alan is on line one. Alan, I hope you are listening to me because I need to stay on task and on track. So I don't care what you're doing, Alan. I don't care if you're feeding your dogs. If you don't have anything to say that is on this topic, then you may have to save your phone call. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not even going to ask you, Xavier, what he said to you, because he can tell you one thing, but once he gets on the phone with me, it's going to be another. So we'll just find out on the other side. We're listening to a Monday edition of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. It's been years since former NFL head coach Brian Flores initially filed a lawsuit against the league, claiming system-wide racial discrimination that's leading to fewer opportunities for black coaches. The Supreme Court recently denied the NFL's request to send the suit into arbitration, which would have allowed the league to settle the matter in private. And now the suit will move forward. Bloomberg Supreme Court reporter Justin Wise explains.
What it does is it opens the door for this case to be litigated for potential trial, and where that case will be tried in front of a court. Flores' lawyers have also argued that it sets a standard, that a league policy that makes Roger Goodell, the league's commissioner, the default arbitrator, is inadequate.
The root of the case is what Flores says is a sham interview he underwent for a big head coaching job. He claims the team only interviewed him to satisfy the Rooney Rule and had no serious intentions of hiring him. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business-credit.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back to the program. Let's check the YouTube chat, see what's happening with a very lively and vivacious group. Curly says, I never realized Nisquero was low performing. I remember touring there when we were looking for elementary schools. I think reading proficiency at Nisquero is like 5%. It's in the bottom 50% of not just Milwaukee public schools, but statewide. And Milwaukee is not the only city that has low performing public schools. There's low performing public schools all throughout the state, especially in rural areas where tax collection is low. And here's how another way in which Republicans screw their constituents. Because Republicans are always talking about cutting taxes. Like, there's not enough money to pay for stuff because society is expensive. I'm not sure if you've noticed that. And if you've noticed just like your grocery bill going up, your utility bills growing up, and inflation, well, government pays for stuff too and buys stuff too. They remove the trash and plow the snow and they fix the street lights. Everything has gotten more expensive for governments as well. So if Republicans are constantly running, especially in outstate districts, now remember, Republicans still control the Wisconsin state legislature. First thing a Republican is going to do is cut your taxes. You may suffer. You may have less services. They may close hospitals and clinics, and the snow may not get plowed, and the garbage may not get picked up, and a whole bunch of other services that you just come to rely on. You know, services that your parents and your grandparents had in that same community, in that same county. You're gone now because the Republicans are, we're going to cut your taxes. But they're cutting services too, because there's some services that I don't want to provide. I am totally okay with paying a water bill. It's kind of foul how they put all those extra little fees and taxes on my water bill, but I'm not going to go to a well and purify my own water. So I'll pay the city to get me the Lake Michigan water. And hopefully you get a little bit of the lead out and the mercury and all of the poisons. I still have a water filter on my faucet. But there are some services that we just outsource to government because we don't want to be burdened with, imagine if you had to drive your trash to a landfill yourself. Some of y'all would just kind of live in the squalor, right? But when Republicans say that they're going to cut taxes, and people, of course, are always motivated by money, people are like, oh, this is great. My taxes are too high. But then your services are going to go down. They may have to lay off police officers. How often have we heard, we got to close a couple of fire engines, or fire stations, rather? You guys know what fire is? That it's hot and it's angry, and it'll destroy a whole city. Look at the great fires they had in Chicago and Boston. Like, they had to rebuild major American cities because of fire. Fire stations, I don't care where you got to get the money from. You don't close a fire station because when your house is on fire, you got 9 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't get there for 18 minutes because we had to close a fire station because we're cutting people's taxes. So just be aware when they say they're cutting your taxes, you are going to lose something else. I do want to stick on the topic of education for a very specific purpose, and I kind of want to set the stage. In 1990, I was in either the 9th grade or the beginning of my sophomore year in high school. And that's crazy to say that because 1990 was a different universe. At that time, the teen pregnancy rate. Do y'all remember back in the day when everybody was pregnant? If you're of a certain age, this is why the millennial generation is so large. Oh, Alan hung up. That's probably a good thing. I was going to get to you, Alan, but I had to make my point before you ruined it with yours. There was somebody pregnant. A girl we went to school with was always pregnant. At Brown Deer High School, there was somebody pregnant, at least 2 girls in every single grade. The teen pregnancy rate. Now, I'm going to give you some really good, encouraging news, but I also want to try and apply some context to it because this is one of those things that is happening in our world where nobody really pays attention to it, but I want to call it out so that we can have a better perspective on some things that are happening because I want us to be able to interpret exactly what the hell is happening in this country. So I look at teen pregnancy. It was 60 girls per 1,000 teenage girl. That is insane. You know what it is now? 12. We dropped the teen pregnancy rate in this country by like 5x. That is substantial. And they say, now follow me on this, because of better education. Education is almost the sole reason, and they'll say things like, oh, access to contraception. I would say there was probably more access to contraceptives then, because this was many, many years before, many decades before they started messing with and piddling with Roe versus Wade. And Roe versus Wade was not just about abortion. It was just about access to preventative measures and Planned Parenthood and family planning. It was all of that stuff. Okay. Roe versus Wade was just like a final legal constitutional decision in which a woman has the right to make decisions about her own body, period. But then there were other policies that kind of supported it. Like, oh, we don't want you to have an abortion. So here are all these other opportunities and resources. And here's sex education classes in the schools. But here's where they're lying to us. And I want to get into the meat of our conversation. Teen pregnancy dropped. It's almost inexplicable how much it dropped. From 60, roughly, teenage girls per 1,000 in 1990 to about 12 now. 12 is like, it should be 0, I guess. But no, because there's some people that get married at 18 and 19. And yes, getting pregnant at 18 and 19 is still teen pregnancy. But it's 12.7 where it was per 1,000 teenagers. It used to be 60. And they say, oh, well, because of education. Hold on now. At the same time, education levels have dropped. Standardized test scores are on the most incredible downward spiral, really exacerbating since like 2010, 2012, 2013. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that this incredible increase in education has led to the decrease in teen pregnancy? And the teen pregnancy rates of that era created the millennial generation of right now. Everybody was pregnant. It was a couple of guys that I thought were probably pregnant too. Hell, I might have been pregnant. I did not have the baby, though, in case you were wondering. But I know y'all got to remember. Oh, what happened to Susan? Oh, man, you ain't here? Man, Don Trail got her pregnant. Really? What happened to Sally? She was just in math class. Nah, she about to have her baby. She'll come back next year as a mother. Something ain't right. Measurable levels of education are going and getting lower. Standardized test scores are all the data that you need. But they're saying, no, education is the reason why there's lower teen pregnancy. There's actually something else that is going on, and that's what I want to shed light on. I know I'm being cryptic, but you got to stay tuned because we're going to put these damn pieces together because there's something they're not telling us about this incredible drop in teen pregnancy, especially amongst black women. Because, black women had earned this moniker. Oh, they're the welfare queens. They're having all these babies out of wedlock, which still does exist in our culture at a higher rate than others. But for them to say, oh, no, this drop in teen pregnancy is because of education. So why hasn't there been a corresponding rise in standardized test scores? If education is the reason why, then why are we seeing incomes lower, poverty lower? But no, education is the reason why teen pregnancy is dropping. Here's the thing about racism that most black people who didn't grow up around white people. I was in their environment. They were a part of my developmental environment growing up in Brown Deer in the 1980s. I get to see and I saw how they think and how they feel. And their racism, it's almost like the nicer they are and the kinder they are. Because white people are fake. Like whiteness has to maintain a veneer that is pleasant. Here's a beautiful but disgusting example. A lynch party. A mangled black body, clothes ripped, shredded, and tattered. Sometimes these bodies were naked, covered in blood, eyes bulging out. And there's this crowd of people standing at the feet of a nightmare, and they're smiling. They will hang you by your neck with a rope until you are dead and just not even be disgusted by it. So please, please keep that in mind. Another thing about the truest racists, they're never going to tell you that they're racist. They resent using the N-word. They don't want you to know because they work in secrecy and in darkness. And that's one of the biggest contrasts between black culture and white culture. We're out loud with ours. We want everybody to know we're flashy. We showboat. We flash money. We hold up them big stacks of money to our ear. Money calling. If you have equity, there's nothing you can physically hold up to your ear. You know what I mean? How we're loud and we're boisterous and we're such a contrast to them, especially when we're out in public and they're in public with us. Like they're always quiet and a little bit more subdued. Not all the time, but we tend to be a little bit louder, a little bit flashier. They are covert. And here's something about covert racism. It's money. They don't want black people to have money. They don't want to raise your wages. They don't want to give you more opportunities. They don't want to promote you. They'll promote a white person without a high school diploma and a criminal background before they promote a black person with a master's degree. That's fact. Go look it up. I'll be here when you get back. But they do not want us to reproduce. They don't want more black children because they're worried about replacement theory. And replacement theory is not new. So wait a minute. Teen pregnancy, are you following me? Teen pregnancy has gone down like 500% in a generation because of education. We're educating people more and they know not to get pregnant. But at the same time, no, education has not gone up because standardized test scores are going down. That's why I asked you this very fundamental question. How many of you smoke weed? You want to harm black people? Reduce their fertility by putting something in marijuana. I'm going to pause right there because I'm going to back all this stuff up. Birth rates are down. Marijuana consumption is up. In fact, legalize it. Because the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst people that we don't want reproducing, they'll get high every day. They'll get high. They'll swear by it. I smoke weed. It's better than alcohol. It's better than... No, I get high every single day. And fertility rates are down. Black teen pregnancy... which would have, if you think about it, while it was inconvenient and probably kind of a social ill, do you know how many more black people and black voters and black business owners and entrepreneurs and black bankers and black developers and black homeowners and black colleges and college professors we would have if our birth rate didn't plummet? Hold on, I'm going to give it to y'all. Y'all think I'm playing with you. I didn't come here to play. It's Pride Month. And I have pride in being straight. Is that racist against the gays? Can I?
No.
Okay, I'm going to take a break, come back. Continue our little casual chit-chat. You can join us on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth, hitting subscribe. Of course, liking and sharing the broadcast is always thoughtful. You can see live video stream of the broadcast right there on your screen. You can also participate in the YouTube chat. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
National Player of the Year.
Left hand, and the game is tied. Kids magical.
Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside, the back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, it's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, then I'm going to take my wife for her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Young men to sit and reflect on the fate of the world. For life as we know it, my brother, must go on. And so the hustlers continue to hustle and the players continue to play.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey, what's up? I'll get out of here, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can do it.
Where you on your way to?
Up to that. We heard it was coming.
No, I was just up on the app myself, man. Wasn't nothing happening up there.
Wasn't no fox.
I was just running around. That's cool. You the man. You the man. All right.
Scores steadily climbed for decades, hit a plateau, and then started backsliding in the 2000s. Pandemic era disruption supercharged the decline in student performance and standardized test scores. So I'm trying to do a correlation here. So I found this data and I was like, this doesn't make any sense, because we know the benefits of what education can provide someone. You are more self-aware, your opportunities are greater, you see the world differently, you can be more analytical, you can be more objective and more data-driven. Highly educated folks look at the math, look at the numbers, look at these statistics. People that have less levels of education just get super emotional, and they react on emotion because they don't have the knowledge base to look at objective fact. And this is not, me being at all condescending, it's just the way the world works. But every now and again, we have these very unusual happenings in the course of human history that changes everything. You've got to watch very closely the minute details, because there are people that have an inordinate amount of data and control and understanding. I'm talking about policymakers. It's not even the policymakers. It's the researchers that provide the data to those folks that make laws. If you think, humor me for a second, that Republicans, say, over the last 50 years have supported policies that have been harmful to urban communities, immigrants, women. If you believe that, some of you say, no, Republicans have done wonderful by people. But if you're in the school of thought and your lived experiences shows that even in presidential administrations or gubernatorial administrations, when a Republican or a conservative is in political power and control, things seem to get worse. It isn't just the policies. It's not just their executive orders. It's not the bills that they sign into law. It's the research they get to create the bill and the law that harms the people. So we're looking at just the candidate or the elected official. I'm looking at their legislative reference bureau, because Scott Walker wasn't no genius. Dude only had a high school diploma. But he could go to his legislative reference bureau, people that have PhDs and master's degrees, and Scott Walker could say in very simple language, yeah, what can I do to harm blacks? What can I do to harm them but make it look like I'm still a really nice guy? I'm going to present whatever bill you guys come up with. I'm going to present it with a smile. And make sure there's some good things in the bill, like a tax cut that I can celebrate, but I really want to make sure that black people are not competitive economically and academically, because we don't want black people, especially black Democrats, to outperform white people and white Republicans. And the legislative reference bureau will be like, okay, boss, all right, we'll put something together for you. It's going to be very covert. So, and I got to keep that in mind, that there are people behind the curtain that can have an impact on human society that we have no idea. Look at social media just as a whole and how look at the dynamics in the world that have changed. There are people that are dead because of an Instagram post or a beef on Facebook, a real profound event. Now, there's been some good parts of social media too. You can post your mom's meatloaf. I love meatloaf. I think meatloaf is delicious. You give me some, you know what I want with my meatloaf? Some mashed potato. You know what you gotta do with your mashed potatoes? Don't give me no box mashed potatoes. If you give me box mashed potatoes, I will box you. Don't do that to me. But you got to boil your potato, you got to peel your potato, you got to mash your potato. You know what you got to put in there? Put some butter in there. Put a little heavy cream in it. Not a lot now. Don't get crazy with it. We got to watch our cholesterol. We got to watch our triglycerides. Put you a little heavy cream in there. And then you know what else you do? You got to do a little dollop of sour cream. A little dollop of a little dollop of daisy. That's, you know what I mean? That's how I want a hunk of meatloaf. I want the ketchup on top. Some people get fancy. They put the barbecue sauce on top. I don't need that. I need old school ketchup on top of my meat, and you got to bake it just so the sugar and the ketchup, it just caramelizes a little bit. Not a lot. Don't burn my meatloaf, or I'm going to box you for that too, no? And you know what else I want? I need something green. I need a vegetable with my meatloaf. You know what I need with my meatloaf? Some peas, some green peas. And then sometimes, peas are unruly because they're round. Sometimes the peas, they'll roll over to the mashed potatoes. Uh-oh, look like my peas and my mashed potatoes is becoming friends. Hello, friends. Get in my belly. Hey, Mr. Meatloaf, ain't nobody forget about you. And then if you really want to get crazy with it, you can stack it. You cut you a little cube of meatloaf. Cut it with your fork. We don't need no knife because meatloaf is tender. Put your little mashed potatoes on there. Top it with some of them peas. Psh. Find me a woman that can make that, and I'll make her dreams come true. So there are things that happen in society that changes everything. If you were born like my father was born November 14th, 1943. There was a difference between my father and my mother who was born October 2nd, 1948. My father did not have any trace amounts of radioactive isotopes in his blood. My mother did, because my mother was born after, and we all have them in our bodies. If you were born after 1945, the bombs that we dropped on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and all the nuclear weapons testing through the 1980s has put fine particulate radioactive nuclear material, real tiny. It's in our eggs, it's in our sperms, it's in our little blood vessels, it's in the corpuscles, it's in your arteries, it's in your big toe, it's in your little toe. Now, it's not a lot, but it is a fundamental difference in human beings from before we were playing with nuclear weapons until after. Now, I'm not saying that explains a whole range of different human behaviors from one generation to the next, but you have to watch these kinds of things. And you know what it takes? Scientific research to say, how is this impacting the human brain and human fetuses and human childhood development? And there's science that is dedicated to watching that kind of stuff, because if us using nuclear weapons and nuclear weapons testing is covertly poisoning people, and then those poisoned people may exhibit different behaviors, we got to have policies that can help those people. Do you understand me? But when Republicans come in and they cut science, we lose track of the damage that we are doing to human beings. This is why science is so important. If somebody tells you that science is not important, I'll take their meatloaf from them. Let's take a break, come back. Continue making this connection between teen pregnancy down, especially amongst black children. Of all the unruly behaviors that we are seeing amongst African-American teens, and I know it's not all the kids, but here's the fundamental difference. It's a lot of girls out there in the streets acting up. Two women, the man that got shot at Center Park got killed by a woman. You know that? There was also a murder in Oconomowoc, so it's not just city, it's just women writ large. Don't worry, I'm going to explain all this. As women emulate men because men are sassy and we're not good enough anymore, women are emulating masculinity, but the wrong kind. The more women believe they can be like men and act like men because that's fairness and that's equality, you know what that means? Women are going to kill more people. They're going to kill more of their children. They're going to kill more of their romantic partners. There's going to be higher incidences, whether it gets reported or not, because society hasn't caught up to that, of women killing their men. And you're saying, well, that man probably deserved it. That story from Oconomowoc, this man brought over a chicken to make his girlfriend for dinner. She said she wanted to go out to eat, and she stabbed him in the heart and killed him. And then when she gets arrested, she's like, well, if you got to lock me up, that's fine. I probably just should have went to the bar anyway. Like, she didn't even care. Didn't even care. But so of all the mayhem and the street takeovers and all the crazy stuff that we see in our city, like 35, 40 years ago, it would have been all boys out there. Why? Because half of them damn girls would have been pregnant. The girls aren't getting pregnant now. It's leading to population drops. You know, the black population is not growing. For a while, we was on a clip upwards. We have been stuck at 13% for like 30 years. Now, I'm not saying the teen pregnancy was good, but black populations are remaining steady. So what does that allow them to do? Trim and cut and eliminate our legislative districts in places like Mississippi, and that state is 40% black. If our populations would have continued growing, now this is a calculated risk because we didn't want more teen pregnancy, but we would have such an overabundance of African Americans that we would have infiltrated so many other aspects and spheres of American society that we on our own could have started to make measurable improvements in who we are and our trajectories for success. Take a break, come back. I want to explain how if you want to harm some people, put additives in the marijuana. It'll kill their fertility. It adds sex hormones to men. Progestin goes up in men when they smoke marijuana. That's a female sex hormone. These men out here acting all sassy, Sherwin. Does he also get high? Yep. Does he have man boobs? He sure does. Marijuana consumption increases testosterone in women. I'm going to let you sit with it. I'm going to take a break, come back, and we're going to talk about it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 101.7 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are right. No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, then I'm going to take my wife for her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the CDC, teen pregnancy and teen birth rates, and this is their word that they use, collapsed to record lows since the early 1990s. So something happened in 1990, you had astronomically high, and those of us that were around at that time, everybody was pregnant. If I'm just going to look at a couple of years. If you were pregnant in the really high years, especially before Wisconsin reformed its welfare system, because we had a system where you would get, and it was a sliding scale downward, but the more children you had, the higher your government assistance checks would be. Illinois, Indiana, and I'm not sure what Minnesota did. They all reformed their welfare systems to where you had to work. They went to workfare. And Bill Clinton was instrumental in that too. In 1995, he basically eliminated modern welfare, where he was forcing people back to work. And one of the reasons why Bill Clinton did a lot of stuff he did, including oversee some of the largest prison expansions, because you had three strikes laws and the war on drugs was very brand new. He signed that into law in 1994. Don't worry, Joe Biden voted for it, and so did Bernie Sanders. But it's not as racist as you think, because the crack epidemic, which had been at that point in time going on for 10 years, was harming the integrity of hardworking black families. And we, black people, can be very socially conservative because it's already tough for us because we don't get a fair shake. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. We have dilapidated conditions because there's not enough investment in our communities. So anything internal in the black community that is disrupting black progress, black people want it excised like a cancer. And so we were in support of black people, and black voters at the time were putting a lot of pressure on their members of Congress, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and also on mayors at the time, because you saw a proliferation of more black mayors and more black countywide elected officials in the 1990s. And black folks were like, you got to do something about crack. And the Republicans were like, shall we build more prisons? I mean, if you guys say so, I mean, if it's coming from you black people, we will oblige you if you want. And black folks were like, do whatever you have to do to clean up our streets because our kids are getting shot. Gang violence is insane. I mean, just look at the culture that came out of that time. The movies, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. I mean, it was like that, right? So the Republicans were like, oh, well, if you want us to build more prisons to lock up more black people, say less. Then Bill Clinton comes in and is like, hey, wait a minute. Hey, well, don't let the Republicans steal all my fun. If they gonna build prisons, well, I'll build some too. Republicans gave Bill Clinton a blueprint for his reelection in 1996. Let's build more prisons and put more cops on the street. That is what Bob Dole was running on. And Bill Clinton, as the incumbent, said, oh, guess what, Bob Dole? I'm going to take your campaign platform and roll it into my reelection campaign. And Bob Dole got mollywops. You know how dope that is? Like, Bill Clinton is one of the smartest. Now, long-term for the country, probably a bad idea. We should have been more thoughtful, but we didn't know at the time. We know a lot more now. But if you already have the incumbency and you have an economy that's doing well, steal a Republican's thunder, because that means that moderate Republicans and independents had no reason whatsoever to vote for Bob Dole, because Bill Clinton had the economy clicking, our budgets were balanced, people were working, wages were going up, things were still reasonably okay at that point in the 1990s. If you have the incumbency and you steal the most popular items from a Republican candidate, and if you steal things that Republican and conservative voters are likely to respond to, that is the genius in Bill Clinton. You ever wonder why Bill Clinton remains so popular? And it's not because he got sloppy toppy from Monica. That ain't why. The sloppy toppy he got from Monica, and he was able to survive that and still remain popular because his presidency was rock solid as a Democrat, because Bill Clinton was cutthroat. Now, he also made some people disappear. That ain't none of my business, though. I'm not here to talk about who he and Hillary Clinton may have had off. That's not none of my business. I know I'll give you one example, even though it's not a universal one. From when Bill Clinton was elected to when he left office, I graduated both as a black man, black boy turning into a man. I graduated from high school, college, and got a job working for a member of Congress just during Bill Clinton's 2 terms. That's substantial, considering what my alternatives could have been and would have been. Had I not graduated from high school, had I not finished college, I probably would have sold crack, because for those of us that remember, crack was the preferred entrepreneurship of almost all of our black friends that did not go to college. They sold a lot of dope. They did. One of my mentors, and I'm not ashamed to, now he went to prison, and he would, because when I was going to UW Oshkosh, he would drive me. I come home for the weekend. He would drive me back up to school. He was like, Sherwin, you got to stay in school. You're going to have all these opportunities. Stick with it. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. He was a dope dealer, but one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. Sold dope, got caught, did a number of years inside and then also on paper. But he was like, Sherwin, you have opportunities that I didn't have. You got to stick with this college stuff. And I'm glad that I did. So some of the best game that I got to avoid the streets was someone who was actually in the streets and successful. The truth was Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, then I'm going to take my wife to her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are right. No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
National Player of the Year.
Left with and the game is tied. Kids magical.
Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside. The back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, it's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly. Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with me, Sherwin Hughes. I found a very unusual series of connections, and this is a perspective that I have gathered and garnered just with the chronological age that I have reached. I remember when teen pregnancy was it was a thing. Everybody knew somebody that was pregnant. Teen pregnancy rates in the 1990s. So if somebody was born when teen pregnancy rates were at their highest, let's say between 1989 and 1990, we're talking about 60. At any one point in time, out of 1,000 teenage girls, 60 were pregnant. Some were pregnant with twins. Do the math on that. Which then created the millennial generation. If I'm not mistaken, millennials are either the largest alive generation right now. The baby boomers were, because at that time, people after World War II, everybody was just humping, and the economy was good. Black folks were migrating north to get factory jobs, and people were just humping left and right. Birth control, we don't need no birth control. Let's just hump and make a generation of 80 million people. I know we blame the boomers for a lot, but their birth cohort was so big, they created policies, including civil rights movement stuff. There was some silent generation that was in there as well. But the latter half of the civil rights movement and the anti-Vietnam War protesters were baby boomers. But then they got like corporate greedy. But then at the same time, they said, well, we're homeowners because we could afford to buy houses, the baby boomers did. Let's make mortgage interest rates tax deductible. That's just one example of how they were able to vote for whatever they needed. Our capital gains taxes are just too high. We make money and with our jobs, whatever, we put money in the stock market and we're going to retire off of our 401ks. We should pay less income tax. Here's what's crazy. It's all income. But the baby boomers were like, I feel like we should tax our money less. And they had the votes to put politicians in office that did the bidding for a generation. So to fast forward to now or more recent times, if you were born between 89 and 90, you are 36, 37 years old. You are a millennial. Now, I'm not saying you were born to a teen mother, but at the same time when you were born, I'm even say between 1985, because the oldest millennials are 40 now. Between 85 and when the rate started dropping in 1991, like just that era right there created a whole generation that we are seeing right now that we call the millennials. So I found it so fascinating that at the same time you have the proliferation of legalized cannabis, and I don't know where, because the data is kind of all over the place and a lot of it is propagandized, because for a while they were saying we kept marijuana illegal because it's terrible, it's bad for you, and reefer madness. A lot of that stuff came from two lobbies. Seagram's. You guys didn't know that? The Seagram's was one of the biggest. They spent more money keeping marijuana prohibited and illegal than probably any other corporate interest. But then an organized union also participated in wanting to keep marijuana illegal, and that was police unions and sheriff's departments, because they're unionized as well. If you have a certain number, this is where it gets deep. But like, I expect all Americans to know this, because if we can't interpret what is happening in our country, like history is a guide. If you know what happened, you may have an idea of what is going to happen. And I come to find out a lot of people don't know what happened. So if sheriff's departments and police departments can make a certain number of arrests, drug-related arrests, including marijuana, because it was very much illegal. It's still illegal in Wisconsin. Then you can write for grants to the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. Like, yeah, we had 17,000 marijuana arrests last year in Milwaukee. We need another $30 million from the federal government. And the federal government had blank checks when it came to a couple of things: drug enforcement and military spending. In fact, I'd almost say that they are one and the same. You ready for this one? You know how much money we spend a lot on the military. You guys know that. Trillions of dollars on the military. We spend unlimited amounts of money. I got to get some agreement. Otherwise, my next point is not going to make any sense. We spend a lot of money on war. Even if the wars are non-existent, even if the wars are manufactured, even if the Twin Towers just happen to fall and we go to war for 20 years, we spend so much money on war, y'all, we have to go to war. Trump was like, yeah, this whole Iran thing, but we got all this money and all these weapons. Let's just mess with people because we can. That is a lot of times foreign American policy. We have all this money that we spend in the Pentagon, on weapons of war. Let's just go bomb somebody and see if we can take some stuff. We spend a lot of money on war, right? We also spend a lot of money on the war on drugs. Both wars. Both have unlimited blank checks. So between Seagram 7 they knew it. If America legalizes marijuana, you're going to drink less. Have you talked to a bar owner lately? Go talk to one. Ask them how business is doing in the last 10 years since marijuana legalization. We're surrounded in a sea of legal marijuana. Like Oklahoma, y'all, has got recreational marijuana in their state. Mississippi, Michigan, Illinois. There's a dispensary right across the state line where if you show them a Wisconsin ID, if they know that you came from Wisconsin to drive into Illinois to buy their legalized cannabis, you get a 20% discount. You know what that does? That means that if marijuana ever gets, and I shouldn't say marijuana, that's supposed to be a derogatory term, but if cannabis ever gets legalized in Wisconsin, it's still going to be cheaper in Illinois. Illinois got our card. They're like, oh, y'all want to be late to the party and legalize marijuana in Wisconsin, which is still years away. In fact, I would argue that we missed the boat. People still going to go to Illinois. Illinois makes so much money. They track how much money they make off of Wisconsin residents that drive to Illinois to buy their cannabis. But it's unusual because at the same time, marijuana legalization, and now Seagram 7, of course, they had to step back, and the sheriffs and the police unions who also had advantages when marijuana was illegal, because if you make a certain number of drug arrests, you can get an unlimited amount of money because it's all a part of the war on drugs. And if there's one thing that America's going to fund, give America a war and we're happy. Because we're still drunk on the aftermath of World War II. I'm going to explain real quickly. I got to do this history lesson because I want the stuff that I say to make sense. If you bomb the entire world, all Europe was cooked. The French people, they didn't have a country. The Nazis occupied them. Shout out to the French for just taking it. They got occupied. All of Eastern Europe was bombed out. Japan was clearly glowing in the dark because we dropped not one but two nuclear weapons on them. And after the first nuclear bomb, we thought Japan was going to surrender. They're like, oh no, is that racist? I shouldn't do a Japanese accent. How about I just do like,
why not?
Oh no, the Americans have dropped a very large weapon on us. We shall keep fighting. We don't like it, but the Americans will never drop another nuclear bomb on Japan. And then we dropped another one. And then they're like, oh no, this is getting worse by the moment. The third city would have been Tokyo. So Japan, who after World War II had to sign a treaty that said they can't spend more than 1% of their GDP on the military. When was the last time you ever heard of Japan invading a country? They don't. They can't. We made sure that they can never have a military that could ever compete with the United States because we was mad about Pearl Harbor. And eventually we normalized relations with Japan. Now we love the Japanese and they love us too. Look at all the sushi y'all eat. We wasn't eating sushi before we normalized relations with Japan. That's cultural collaboration right there. And guess what? You drive a Toyota or a Honda or a Subaru or somebody in your family does. Yeah, that's right. Because Japan was like, fine, if we can't spend a whole bunch of money on the military because America's still mad about Pearl Harbor, then we're going to build better stuff. We're going to have better technology. Oh, by the way, we're going to invest a lot of that military money that we can't spend on our children so that they're smarter than Americans and they make better cars and better products. And we're going to go to war with America by competing against your automakers. Bingo. If you bomb the entire world after World War II, because the world was in real bad shape, and America was one of those countries that was at the table. We also created Israel out of that whole deal, too, because nobody wanted, sorry, Jews, nobody wanted you. So we're just like, well, just put them over here and just let them and the Palestinians fight. I'll talk about that another time. But America's industry and our infrastructure was intact. The closest any bombs got to America during World War II was 3,000 miles off the coast of California. All of our factories were intact. We had so much industry that anything that the world needed, listen to this, here's the best part. The stuff the world needed to rebuild itself after we bombed the world and bombed Europe, they had to buy from us. If you destroy a nation's infrastructure, they got to rebuild it. But if they have no means to rebuild it, you buy it from the nation that won the war, because none of our factories lost anything. In fact, we were able to supercharge our war output because just like even during COVID, they switched to a wartime economy. Because remember when we needed a whole bunch of ventilators during COVID? Ford was like, oh, yeah, we can switch our assembly line from cars to making ventilators in a second. When your industry remains intact, you can sell to the countries all the things they'll need to rebuild, at the same time hire American workers. And hire American workers to such a degree, you will actively recruit black people from the Jim Crow South to come to the factories and the assembly lines and the manufacturing plants in the Midwest. That's why we're here. Europe was bombed out. Europe needed products. They needed finished goods. They needed all the tools to rebuild. They bought them from American factories, and American factories were willing to oblige African Americans and give us jobs in which we created a lifestyle for ourselves in upper Midwestern cities. And then something happened. The world was like, we're rebuilt now. We don't need American factory stuff anymore. We're going to start making stuff. And immediately, damn near overnight, American factories started closing one by one by one by one by one by one. Because the world was only going to be bombed out for so long. And then they started producing products. And guess what happened? The American economy went into a tremendous, tremendous decline. Listen to when I say this. Foreign competition is bad for the American economy. Let me do you one better. Foreign labor is bad for the American economy, too. Why do you think they wanted to build the wall to keep the Mexicans out? That's competitive labor. They can come into this country and work for next to nothing, and they can drive down the price of labor. Foreign competition is bad for this country, and that has been central economic policy in this nation for like the last 60 years. Let me say this part, and I got to take a break. Teen pregnancy and birth rates have collapsed to record lows since the early 1990s. Cannabis legalization expanded during part of that same period. Cannabis use is associated with reduced sperm quality and potential fertility impairment. There's some more details I want to give you on that. But if you want to harm a population, you know how people say, oh, they're putting all these additives in the food and they're poisonous? Absolutely. Deli meat gives you cancer. It's got nitrates in it. But I love deli turkey. It's delicious. What do you want from me? It's very deli ham when you slice it real thin. It's delicious, but it'll kill you. So there are additives and preservatives in our food to make it shelf stable. There's genetically modified organisms. So if you, let's say you grow tomatoes, and the tomatoes from when they're in the ground to when they get picked to when they get to the metro market is like a long time. You can't just have a normal tomato. Fresh organic produce spoils in like a day. And my mother grows great tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. They're so sweet they taste like fruit. Have you ever had a garden-grown tomato? It doesn't even taste. Those tomatoes are so good. I eat tomato sandwiches. What y'all know about a tomato sandwich? Listen to me. Listen now. Toast you a little bit of bread. I like whole wheat. You can do multigrain. You can do white. Toast a little bit. Don't toast it too hard now. Toast you a little bit of bread. Get you some good high-quality mayonnaise, some Dukes. Get you 2 big fat slab slices of an heirloom tomato, a little bit of coarse sea salt, a little bit of pepper. Delicious. Delicious. But you got to get the garden-grown tomatoes. Then you taste the tomato from the grocery store, no flavor, because it's got to be genetically modified to be able to survive and stay fresh from when it's picked, when it's shipped and transported, and when it gets to your metro market, where it may sit there in that little bin for a couple of weeks. So yes, they do put things in the food, and yes, that also has an impact on fertility, on cortisol levels, on weight gain and obesity and all those other things. But think about this. You can also put things in marijuana, because while marijuana was in this weird legal limbo and it was unregulated means sinister forces can be like, hey, can we put stuff in the weed, especially the weed that gets distributed in these particular neighborhoods where we can decrease the fertility because we want black people to have less kids? Well, of course we can do that. Didn't we make sure, follow me, that crack cocaine got distributed to very specific neighborhoods of the people that we wanted to criminalize? Well, yeah, of course. The CIA has all that documentation. Can we do the same with the distribution of marijuana? Yeah, there's no problem with that whatsoever. Now, we will look at it like this. Just like tax cuts are probably good, even though in the long run, tax cuts reduce the amount of resources your community gets and people will suffer. Teen pregnancy being down is fantastic. It's also reducing the African-American population and other populations as well. But our teen pregnancy rate plummeted. But here's what they told us. Well, it's because education is going up and black kids are smarter. That's why they're not getting pregnant. No, at the same time, our standardized test rate, that's where they showed their deficiency. We know that our standardized test rates are going down, but they're saying teen pregnancy is going down because education is up. No, it's not. Now, do I have like the actual science and evidence in front of my face that says that things were added to marijuana to decrease fertility? I do not specifically, but there has been science that goes back to the reefer madness days that says, no, marijuana does impact hormones because there's like thousands of chemicals and thousands of different compounds in marijuana, most of which we don't even know about. But there are some that absolutely impact fertility and increase female, this is all fact now, increases female sex hormones because even men have a little bit of progestin. I think that progesterone, that's the one. We have a little bit of it in us. Marijuana excites that female hormone in men. Marijuana can also have a very unusual impact on testosterone. It can raise testosterone in women. Okay? I'm not saying that women are becoming more masculine, even though Milwaukee is the stud capital of the world. Oh, you didn't know? Well, happy Pride Month to you. I'm not saying that women are getting more masculine over time. And I'm also not saying that men are getting more feminine, but it is women that are saying, oh, these men out here are sassy. Huh. Masculine women and feminine men is also going to lead to decreased birth rates amongst African Americans. Hold that thought. Take a break and come back. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, then I'm going to take my wife for her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
National Player of the Year.
Left hand, and the game is tied. Kids magical.
Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside. The back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, it's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Bob, you're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hello,
Sherwin.
Tomato sandwiches?
It's a southern thing, Bob. I wouldn't expect you to understand that.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Trump said about dumb, didn't nobody know there was a B on it. I knew it was a B on it in the third grade, fourth grade. I've always known it was a B on dumb. So that means he's unheard that he's dumb, he's cruel, which characterizes him as a fool. And it's 13% blacks, Sherwin, I believe, because when I had my third child, I said, oh, my goodness, I can't afford this. I'm going to have to work and they got their tubes tied. I mean, a lot of blacks. And that's why we maintain that 13%, because institutional racism. And many blacks said, oh, that's expensive. And who you voting for governor? That's my last point. Because I want to know who you voting for governor on the 11th of August so I can vote for. Well, who you voting for?
I don't know yet.
All these people.
I'm not sure.
You don't know yet.
It's not the 11th of August. I may not make my mind up until the morning of August 11th, Bob. I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to get through June. I'll let you know.
Oh, you don't know.
I'm not supposed to know.
I appreciate it.
All right. It's too early.
Talk to you later, sir.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I was told I got to be nicer to Bob, but let me express to you my frustration. And all the information that I looked up and curated and the correlations I'm trying to make, Bob's saying that black people, our population is stuck at 13% because women got their tubes tied. So that's another fascinating thing about. So we as members of the media present information, and we present it in a way that first has to make sense to us, and then we have to sometimes translate or demystify that information so it makes sense to other people. And then when we do that, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me, and I'm pretty familiar with my audience. Let me explain it in a way and use like familiar cultural things and go back in history a little bit and get nostalgic to remind people of things that we, may have forgotten. And then that information is then, well, women got their tubes tied. I am correlating what was told to the American people of the success of the decline in teenage pregnancy, particularly amongst black girls, where it was 60 black girls, teenage girls, out of 1,000 were pregnant in 1990. And then a precipitous drop to where now it's about 12 in 1,000. And we were told that increased levels of education in the African-American community are the reasons for that precipitous decline. I can also correlate right along with the major, that is a precipitous, like that. It's almost hard to fathom how that statistic, if you look at it positively, was done by an America that in every other aspect does not want black progress. Lowering teen pregnancy and teen birth rates technically is a really, really good thing, but I don't think it was done to help the African-American community remain childless and get an education. Now, we turned it into that, but I think that there was something very sinister at play because we were told, well, no, education levels have gone up, and when black women get more educated, they're going to have less kids. No, our education levels are the lowest they have been in the modern era since the Jim Crow days, since schools were segregated. So that don't make any sense to me. Because of education, teenage girls are getting pregnant less, but our standardized test scores, Which, if you want that information, I always keep the MPS test data. It's right here. I got it right here. It's right here in the inbox. I got an inbox. My inbox is heavy. I got a lot of information in the inbox. But then I look at the legalization of marijuana, and I'm thinking if it's an unregulated drug, you can put all sorts of stuff in it. And you also can control where the infected marijuana can go, just like they didn't put crack in Omaha, Nebraska, did they? No. It's in big urban areas in black communities. So you can very much control the drugs. But the thing about this affection that people have for marijuana, let me check our YouTube poll, because we asked you guys, how often do you use cannabis? Which is the more acceptable term? Marijuana is supposed to be a derogatory term. I posted something about, and I knew I was going to trigger the marijuana people. Are you guys familiar with how often people get high? If people did any other drug with the frequency in which people ingest THC, the epidemic would be of international, global pandemic proportion. If people drank and people don't drink that much, because you can't, there are some people that the first thing they do is they get high. They get high throughout the day. They get high at work. They get high when they come home from work. They get high on the weekends. They're high all of the time. And if you say something about that, they get more angry than accusing a heroin junkie of ruining their life. The affection that people have for marijuana, there's something about that is incredibly suspicious, because you can control a society in ways that a society is unaware of through ingesting substances that are unregulated. Now, also, hold on, listen to me. I got something for you. I'm dropping jewels today. Once you get done listening to this radio show, it's going to be like you walked out the jewelry store. You're going to have so many diamonds. You're going to be shining with knowledge. Why is marijuana being moved and descheduled under Trump? Of all the Democratic presidents, Obama could have been like, hey, legal. Buy it. Black entrepreneurs, black people that were incarcerated for marijuana sales and trafficking and all the other stuff. It really hurt us, right? War on drugs kind of thing. Obama could be like, well, I'm going to legalize it. I'm going to legalize it 6 ways from Sunday. But he didn't. Joe Biden, while mostly asleep, marijuana, it's not good. No, I'm serious, folks. I'm serious. And then he would just kind of wander off. No, I mean it. Me and Corn Pop, we were friends. Yeah, we were. Yeah, see? Why were the Democratic presidential administrations that have an empathy and a sympathy for the impact of the war on drugs they didn't even deschedule it because they knew something, that descheduling marijuana would allow pharmaceutical companies or even forces more sinister than them. Remember, the pharmaceutical companies were like, we love money. Let's not get Americans healthier. Let's make sure they're sick, but then treat them and make money off of the treatment. And the treatment will keep them two things: alive, but still sick. Purdue Pharma got hit with a $4 billion lawsuit because they intentionally addicted. White people, poor white people. Like, oh, those are throwaway people. These white people that work in coal mines, screw them. Coal mining is very difficult work. A lot of them are complaining about the pain. Let's create a pharmaceutical grade painkiller to where you don't have to buy heroin anymore, or you don't have to buy heroin off the street. We will mechanize the creation of heroin and get paid off of it. Then I did a side-by-side comparison. I looked at how many people died during the crack epidemic versus how many people have died during the opioid crisis. The number of people, like the thing with crack deaths, it was like because somebody was stealing, they got shot, and there was homicides because there was gang violence to control territory of who could sell the crack. Crack didn't really kill people. The opioid crisis did. The most reliable data that I found is we could attribute something like 5,000 deaths a year to the crack epidemic. In our worst years, 100,000 people were dying from the opioid crisis. Let me do you one better. The Taliban is notoriously conservative religiously. And the Taliban used to control northern Afghanistan. When the Taliban controlled northern Afghanistan before we went in and bombed it, the heroin poppy production was almost zero, because what the Taliban would do is they would kill farmers that were growing opium poppy. There's this thing called the Silk Road, and it was a road that went from northern Afghanistan all throughout Europe, and that's where the opium and the poppy was transported so that heroin could be distributed to the Western world. So those people in northern Afghanistan were making billions and billions of dollars in the heroin opium trade, right? So we go to war with Afghanistan. There was a period of time in American history and world history where northern Afghanistan was the most militarily occupied region on planet Earth, okay? When the Taliban had control, there was no opiate crisis. There was no heroin epidemic. It didn't exist because the Taliban was like, you are not going to grow drugs. We do not like drugs. We also don't like women. But you are not going to do the drugs. You are not going to sell the drogas. I don't know why that accent is Spanish. But then America occupies northern Afghanistan. Guess what happens? Opioid crisis. And the poppy that is needed to synthesize opiates was flowing like you wouldn't believe. Now, how does this make any sense when the American military is occupying the land and the space in which the opium and the poppy was growing? When we get there and occupy it, now it flows again. When the Taliban was in control, it basically ceased to exist. White Americans were hit. Now, we were hit by the opiate crisis, too, because we put it in our music, Molly's and Percocets. Not so much the Molly, but the Percocets. Drinking lean that's all a part of it as well. To subdue countercultures and people that would otherwise be revolutionaries against an oppressive system, keep them high, because then you don't have to worry about them overthrowing the government. You know what I'm saying? The pharmaceutical companies have a real serious interest in cultivating marijuana for their own purposes, and they're sinister because look what they did with opiates. Oxycontin, they made 160, just to give you an example, and I got to take a break, 160 milligram Oxycontin pill, which 5 milligrams of an opiate can knock out an average sized person. But people were so incredibly addicted and they got tolerances. Now it's hyper illegal. Now the only way you give somebody Oxycontin, this is one of the settlements in Purdue Pharma, which they killed millions of people intentionally with this addictive opiate. Millions of people died. And they got fined $4 billion, which they have, Purdue Pharma, one family, has not paid a single penny of it. Millions of people died on purpose because they knew how addictive it was. And they knew they were telling doctors, oh, no, this is a new form of painkiller. Here, prescribe this here, doctor. But the doctor's like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable prescribing this to my patients because, a lot of them are poor and they don't really have a lot of, knowledge about medicine, how to take it. And the doctors were like, nah, I'm not really comfortable with this. Hey, doctor, would you like a trip to Aruba, Jamaica? Maybe I want to take it. Would you like some kickback? And the doctor's like, all I have to do is just prescribe increasing doses of these new painkillers. Yeah. No, seriously. Purdue pharmaceutical reps were making millions and millions of dollars while addicting people to a toxic substance that they knew was addictive. And they knew the people would get addicted to it. And guess what? That means that Purdue Pharma could keep producing it. They criminalized and weaponized addiction for profit. Now, fast forward to right now. Why is Donald Trump moving to decriminalize and deschedule marijuana more than the other Democratic presidents? Because they want to do the same thing with weed. The Democratic presidents had the presence of mind to say, this will be a disaster in the making if we deschedule marijuana and put it in the hands of the powerful pharmaceutical execs that killed millions of people. And here's the best part. Purdue Pharma got away with it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
National Player of the Year.
Left hand, and the game is tied. Kids magical.
Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside. Dump back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, it's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly.
Never miss a moment of the truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are right. No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You can feel it in the streets on a day like this. The heat, it feel like summer.
Endocrinology studies in animals have consistently shown that female reproductive systems are sensitive to the effects of cannabinoids. I'm going to get a little technical here, but you guys are smart. You'll figure it out. CB1 and CB2 type endocannabinoid receptors for THC are expressed in the ovaries and the uterus and anterior pituitary. Knockout models for CB1 and CB2 receptors exhibit defects in fertilization and egg implantation. Let me pause right there just for a second. I'm just going to make some loose correlations that maybe are relatable, maybe they're not. Teen pregnancy is definitely down. We can't argue with that. But hold on, here's the other one. So teen pregnancy is down like majorly. Like I don't know why more like politicians aren't touting that. They're not touting it because the reasons for it are sinister. Because if you're approaching the black community, let's say you're a Republican and you otherwise don't have a lot of credibility in creating positive legislation that black people can point to. There's very little positive legislation that we can point to that a Republican created, sponsored, authored, co-authored, and signed into law that says, oh my God, this really improved black communities. Black Republicans oftentimes have to dig. Trump, he did the business stuff. You know what I mean? You got to dig. Or if you say, hey, Sherwin, where did an African-American Democrat help black people? The Affordable Care Act and student loan forgiveness for starters. But with Republicans, you got to dig. And so if you don't have a lot of credibility with the population, and it's not that Republicans want or need black votes because they have illustrated that they can win without us, which is actually dangerous for a democracy because our political parties are supposed to compete with each other with the best ideas for people. I want the Republicans to be a strong and robust party that says, you know what, we can do right by African Americans and make them more competitive, get them a job market, get them to buy houses and pay more freaking taxes and vote for more Republicans if we just have a better idea factory. But Republicans are like, screw these blacks. We can win without them. And not only can we win without them, when we get in power and get in control, we will reduce black voices and black representation by redoing the maps. And that is actual fact. That is not emotional. That is exactly what they are doing because they have weaponized the fact that they can win without black votes. So why do black districts even need to exist? And it's as simple as that. There's no other way they can justify it. But it's not even about Republicans coming into black neighborhoods and black communities and saying, "Hey, look what we've done." They don't need to do that because they can win without us. But if there were moderate Republicans that believe that America is strongest when all people have ample opportunity, because we do know for absolute fact when Americans feel good and feel comfortable, crime goes down. All the horrible things in society get reduced when Americans are happy and safe and secure and they're making money and they're employed. Like they buy houses, they shop more, the economy goes nuts, the stock market goes up, people are humping. Money equals humps. More Americans, we're fruitful and we're multiplying and everything is beautiful. So you would think the Republicans would say, hey, you know what? We have overseen the largest drop in teen pregnancy amongst African-American girls in modern history. Like, that's a really, really good thing. They could say it as, well, you think us Republicans don't do anything. Well, look, since we've been in power and control, either locally, statewide, nationally, teen pregnancy rates have gone down. But guess what's gone up? Black maternal mortality. Talked to a black woman who was recently pregnant and how these nurses tried to kill her. I can't talk about it. I get so upset I'll break this microphone. And I don't know who these microphones belong to. Are these Milwaukee Black Media microphones or are these still Good Karma microphones? Because I get so angry. So we're happy the teen pregnancy has gone down. At the same time, black women's maternal mortality, more black women die giving birth than any other race of women. And more black children are stillborn than any other race of children. You gonna sit here and tell me that that's not sinister and that's not planned? Because if they have the ability to impact lower birth rates amongst black teens, and I think the reason why they did that, even though it sounds like a really wonderful and nice statistic, I think the reason why they did that is because they don't want black women reproducing. The same reason why they don't want Latinos and Mexicans coming over here, because they're going to reproduce too. Replacement theory is something they have been working on for a very long time. But if you decrease the quality of education that African Americans receive, then we're going to critically think less, and we won't think that there are large, sinister, and very deeply institutionally and structural racist forces that are responsible for this. This is why I talk about institutional and structural racism. We're so fixated on, oh, that white person said the N-word, get them, cancel them. I'm more worried about the racist white person who works in data and statistics and in a legislative reference bureau that will craft policy that we'll never read, that will ensure that black women don't get adequate health care and that black people are more infertile writ large. That's where I'm at with my racism. We're too focused on the obvious stuff. In fact, the white person that uses the N-word is just an idiot. They're just dumb. And quite honestly, those are the biggest N-words I've ever met are dumb white folk. How you gonna have all this privilege and still have nothing? That's a waste of privilege. Give your privilege to me. You give black people white privilege for 24 hours. We'll remake the entire world and put white people in slavery, but we'll still pay them a decent wage though. Go to an auction and buy a white person. First dib on the redheads, you know what I mean? First dibs. Relax. Ain't nobody trying to do that. Even when black people get power, we have never used our political power to subjugate white people. We haven't, because it's stupid. It's just a way. And all y'all are going to do is just eventually form a civil rights movement of tiki torches and get angry at us. Housing covenants were evil and sinister and intentional. And black people have never, ever said, we are going to make sure that this land in this area can never be rented to or sold to a white person. We love selling white people stuff. We sure do. We'll let them gentrify our neighborhoods left and right. I bring up two very solid figures in my life who are guiding principles for me when it seems like the world is spiraling out of control. And I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for the okie doke. Sherwin is not going to change who he is. I'm not going to change my humanity. I'm not going to change my stances. I'm not going to change my politics. I am who I am because I've seen so much that it's not beneficial for me to change with the wind. Somebody's got to be steady as this hurricane blows. My grandfather, who was able to curate a fair amount of land in Attala County, Mississippi, said to his children, which would be my two aunts, my mother, and my uncle, and he left that land So when he passed away to my grandmother, she has passed away. Now the land is solely in the hands of my grandfather's, my maternal grandfather's heirs. So my mama, my two aunties, and my uncle. My uncle is deceased, so now his children, my cousins, have his portion of the land. Follow me. Okay. My grandfather said, "Don't you ever sell my land to those crackers. Ever. Do not ever." Think about this now. This is, my mother gets mad at me when I get his birthday wrong. I think my grandfather was born in 1905. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because he passed away at the age of 73 in 1978. But his dying wish was this land that he was able to buy for the lineage of his family, said, do not sell it ever to those crackers. Now, I might got some members of my family that might want to sell out and sell some of our land in Mississippi to the white folks, and I would just buy it from them. Now, so that's, my grandfather said that. So we're not going to make a law and a policy that says that white people can never buy this land. Like, even if we were the mayor and the governor and members of Congress, we would never put a policy like that together, but we can refuse to sell it. The other one was Mr. Gerald Jones, who had a profound influence on me as a man, as a broadcaster, and even as an entrepreneur. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with him sitting on that old broken down Corinthian leather couch in his living room with that chessboard right there on the coffee table. He would never sell his radio station to white folks. And my grandfather and Mr. Gerald Jones had something in common: perspective. Now, we can't make laws to prevent them from buying, but we can have fortitude and prevent ourselves from selling. The wealthiest white families in America own land everywhere. Why? Because they don't sell it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 101.7 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
National Player of the Year.
Left hand, and the game is tied.
Kids magical. Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside. Get back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
What?
No, it's not. It's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 101.7 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
While progesterone is typically thought of as a female hormone Research shows it is significantly altered in men who use cannabis. Hold on now. Let's take a moment now. Let me check the YouTube poll just for reference. The question is via YouTube. How often do you use cannabis? The options are regularly, occasionally, rarely, and never. 23% of respondents say they use cannabis regularly. 10% say occasionally. 10% rarely. And 57% say never. Progesterone is typically thought of as a female hormone. Research shows it is significantly altered in men who use cannabis. Specifically, studies have found that while pure progesterone itself may not spike universally, the different metabolites and different forms of progesterone are strikingly higher in the blood serum of male cannabis consumers compared to non-users. Now, what I don't want this information to do is then cause people to correlate this with, say, an uptick in femininity in men and a change in male sexuality and an increase in the gay. I don't have the data to suggest that, but it can turn some traditional women off if, and this is science here. You know how many studies have been done? You think the Tuskegee was bad? You know how many more you know how many people volunteer to do cannabis studies? And a lot of times it'll be like a double-blind experiment. Like, oh, let's just have a group of people that don't smoke marijuana and let's like test them and like watch them over time and see what their lifestyles are and see what their habits are. And we'll pay them big money. And then we'll have a group of people that will willingly participate. If you're a cannabis user and you agree to a medical study, and that actually happens a lot. Oh, would you like to be paid for a medical study? And we do it for high blood pressure medications, a whole bunch of clinical trials with stuff. We didn't really do it with the COVID vaccine, but let's not talk about that one. But there are some people that are approached and they'll say, hey, we'll give you like $5,000 if you just let us, do blood tests on you and track you. If you're already a cannabis user regularly, we'll give you some money. And we just want to see, what's going on with. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. And this is science that has been found. And this science is worth investing in because there's a way in which you can weaponize it. If you know that naturally in cannabis, because once you find out what some of the chemical elements are, then you can manipulate them in a lab. And then you can inject that into the cannabis that's available for sale in dispensaries. And I also find it fascinating that Donald Trump is moving further and harder on cannabis decriminalization and descheduling than even Democratic presidents that know the harm that cannabis prohibition has had on their voters, which is mostly a good percentage of African Americans vote for Democrats. I don't believe that Donald Trump, because there's nothing else in his administration that has pointed to doing things for the betterment of society. And so even though some people are saying, oh, no, this is great, that Donald Trump wants to deschedule or reschedule marijuana and make it less illegal so we can do not less illegal, but it's not Schedule 1 anymore. And when it's lower than Schedule 1, that means we can do more scientific research. I believe that the information that we have right now on how female sex hormones are increased in men that use cannabis, I think that is the research that they want to get at, because if they can subdue populations of people that they find undesirable. We can even go back to Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. Now, we know that Planned Parenthood certainly evolved into something different, but did it though? But did it? Black women do have a lot of abortions. And for whatever reason, no, I'm not getting into that. And if they want to have them, there's nothing we can do about it. They can have them. But the impetus of Planned Parenthood was eugenics. The Nazis based their eugenics program off of what we were doing here in America. And the Nazis, the Germans are never going to be outdone. Wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me that the Americans have a eugenics program? Watch this. We will show you how to do eugenics. Did you know that there used to be the last one that closed? It was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. They were called like women's homes or girls' homes for the, quote, feeble-minded. So women that were particularly spunky or rebellious, or before we could diagnose autism, like all the different things that we can now diagnose, they couldn't diagnose back then. And so they would call people feeble-minded. And you could just be like really super smart or a problem for society. They would ship women off. And we had one in Oak Claire. We had several in Wisconsin. These women's homes, you know what they would do? Sterilize the women. These are white women too now. If you look at eugenics just throughout the United States, it has been a very, very real thing. In fact, we had one of the best eugenics blueprints the world had ever seen, and Nazi Germany actually used that for their eugenics program to exterminate the Jews. I don't want you to think that eugenics has ever gone away. It just looks very, very different. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, then I'm going to take my wife to her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
National Player of the Year.
Left hand, and the game is tied.
Kids magical.
Wisconsin legend.
Dump it inside. Dump back in. It's Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky joins KBN.
Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
See, it's a baiting question because you want me to say you.
On the Yingling Legends Live.
No, I'm not.
But
No, it's not me.
You were annoying to play with.
Yingling, America's oldest brewery. Now available in Wisconsin. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, PA. Enjoy responsibly.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are right. No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbless. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
And my name is Ralph. Now I like a woman who loves her freedom. like a woman who can hold her own.
Welcome to Hour 3 of the Truth with Sherwin Hughes. A couple of recent incidents that have taken place. I don't think that these incidents are, some grand representation of what is happening in American society. Maybe not necessarily. I don't know. Maybe if more incidents like this are going on in other places, I'm not sure. If you guys listen to me, you know that I don't put a lot of stock in. Like, oh, Sherwin, did you see what was happening in the southern tip of Argentina? Nope. Well, Sherwin, clearly you are following what is going on in Turkey. Nah. Sherwin, have you seen the Australian economy lately? It is just going gangbusters. No, I'm not paying attention to that. Or even things that might be, oh, Sherwin, did you see what's happening in the panhandle of Missouri? Nope. Sherwin, are you going on of all the different things that are happening in Texas politics? No, I missed that part. My focus is where I live. And I also know that if I am focused on another place, another space, another region, then I am forsaking and giving up on the place that I currently live and the place that I have an obligation to help improve, because I made a commitment to myself that I was going to be here. And I had opportunities elsewhere. I was going to take a job in 2007 working for the Minnesota State Legislature. Who knows where I'd be then. I was offered an opportunity that same year to go out and work as a lobbyist or like a political consultant in Washington, D.C. I said, no, I'm going to stay here in Milwaukee because clearly I'm a glutton for punishment. And I am not going to go back on that decision to stay here and help improve. And so in order to do my best just to provide information so people can make better decisions and more informed choices, I don't. Now, to the extent that things all fit together, well, sure. But when there's like hyper local stuff going on in other places, I trust those people there and the stakeholders there and the business owners there and the residents there and the citizens there and the voters there that they're going to be able to solve their own problems, because at the core of what America is, that's exactly what it is. Politics are local, and I may see something somewhere else like, oh, my God, that is outrageous. I have to make sure that it doesn't catch fire and happen here. But to the extent that I'm going to lose sleep over something that happens somewhere else. And here's the thing. If somebody else in another city, another state is asleep at the wheel and they get screwed over, that ain't a Milwaukee person's fault. That's number one. Number two, when do Milwaukee people ever get asked to help with stuff in another city? We don't, because they take a look at Milwaukee and say, oh, yeah, you better stay there and work on your problems. Don't come to Tallahassee. We don't need you protesting down with us. Maybe you guys should just stay where you guys had the housing covenants. We have a lot of really important conversations, and I hope that they mean something and they do some good. And I hope that the conversations, maybe if they don't make sense at the time that I'm delivering them, maybe one day somebody will go back like, oh, snap, Sherwin said that back in 2013. But there are these two incidents that stick out to me. And as we're having the battle of the sexes and, women's equality, and women they say that men aren't available or we're too sassy or marriage is on the decline. With all of these things, I'm looking at the independence of women through a much different lens. And if women are emulating men because there are no men around anymore, maybe this woman grew up without her dad and maybe her mother was a single mother, a whole lineage. And I'm not blaming anybody for that per se. I just am looking at the impacts they can have on society. And if women feel like they need to emulate men because the patriarchy is a very real thing, I wonder what kind of masculinity women are emulating, and is it the wrong kind? Brief little side note. Gentlemen, she will not treat you like she treated her father. She will treat you like her mother treated her father. Can I do that one more time for the people in the back? To expect a woman, assuming heterosexual, cisgender, and all those other terms I didn't have to use 20 years ago, but now I got to use them because I'm talking about a very specific. I'm talking about the kind of relationships that produce offspring. Though, when two people, when their parts fit together, those kind of people. A girl person and a boy person, when they drink too much Hennessy and they do it. That's what I'm talking. Those kind of relationships. I'm just going to call cisgender heterosexual relationships the Hennessy relationships. This keeps it easier. Don't expect her to treat you like she treated her father because she may not know her dad. But she does know and can recall, and it likely was in her developmental environment, how her mama treated men. That is the best you are likely going to get. Now, not in all cases, but I just want you to go into it with a heavy set of expectations. So I said all that to say this: the kind of masculinity that I think is being displayed for women to emulate, especially if they have written men off. Because when women say they choose the bear, by all means, please. Black, brown, Kodiak, polar, I'm not stopping you. It means that they have written off for a number of reasons, because men are terrible and toxic and whatever. That's fine. A woman that would choose the bear wouldn't be my type anyway, so I don't see that as any kind of loss. Nor am I going to say to a woman, no, don't choose the predator that stands 12 feet tall. Choose me. I'm not no pick-me. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office said a man was shot and killed at Center Park on Saturday, May 30th. Law enforcement was called to the park at 65th and Center, where the sheriff's office said a large picnic-style social gathering was underway just after 6:45 p.m. Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies, Milwaukee Police, and the Milwaukee Fire Department personnel found the victim, a 22-year-old Milwaukee man, dead with at least 2 gunshot wounds. The family identified the man as Pepe Sikisi Bell. Authorities arrested a 25-year-old Milwaukee woman who had not 1 but 2 guns in her possession. The sheriff's office reported the investigators believe the victim and suspect knew each other. No other injuries were reported. She killed him at a kid's birthday party. Brought 2 guns. If you don't think this is an incident of domestic violence, then you would be sadly mistaken, even though we don't have those details and we may never get them. That is an emulation of the wrong kind of masculinity. Let me do you one better. Okachi homicide, woman accused of stabbing her boyfriend, going to trial, even though she admitted it. And I'm giving you 2 different universes here. You don't get more upper crust and wealthy than Okachi Lake. We call it Okrachi, but you can have your nicknames for other locales if you so choose. The woman prosecutors say stabbed and killed her boyfriend over a chicken dinner is going to trial, and Fox 6 is getting new details about the case from investigators. Michaela Cloth remains in custody. Her cash bond was previously set at $2 million. On Friday, May 29th, the Waukesha County Court Commissioner said there's enough evidence, including Cloth's own confession, to take this case to trial. What we know: there was someone stabbed in the apartment bleeding. For the first time, we're hearing from police that investigated a fatal stabbing that took place in this Okachi apartment building back in April. Assistant District Attorney J.J. Crawford said that one of the officers asked there who had stabbed the victim. A Lac LaBelle detective said yes. Crawford says, did someone respond to that? Another assistant DA said yes. Crawford says who? Assistant DA says Michaela Cloth. Prosecutors charged 27-year-old Michaela Cloth with first-degree intentional homicide. Detective Robert Cassins testified on Friday during Cloth's preliminary hearing. He says Cloth took a knife and pushed it through her boyfriend's heart. Family identified the victim as a 25-year-old named Lucas Roche. Prosecutor said Rosh brought chicken drumsticks to cook at Cloth's apartment. Then they say Cloth got upset because she wanted to go out to eat instead. Doesn't this sound like if the roles were reversed? Ike Turner getting mad at Tina Turner. Anna Mae, I told you I wanted to go out for cake. You gonna bring a cake over here? You bringing me a cake? I wanted to go out for cake. Stab this man in his heart because he brought over chicken to cook because she wanted to go out to eat. If that is not like an ideal picture of what male to female domestic violence would be, I don't know what is. And then you had the shooting of a 22-year-old man at Center Park. And then that one bothers me because I know someone that lives literally facing Center Park, and they chose to live in that neighborhood so they could do right by their child and send them to a Wauwatosa school because an MPS school was not sufficient enough for her and what she wanted for her child. And then there was literally a murder of a 22-year-old celebrating a child's birthday and killed by a woman. That very troubling. But, you know, women are saying that men are too sassy, so now women are going to start to kill us. Take a break, come back. I want to address another issue that we talk about with great frequency, and I want to, I guess, provide some solution. Can you zoom in on this for me, X? With the YouTube camera, I want people to see this publication that I'm holding up, which is familiar to a lot of Milwaukee residents. I've never signed up to receive this publication, but I get them. How often do these come, ladies and gentlemen? If you go to YouTube, you'll see what I'm holding up. The Recreation Guide. It is, hold on. Oh, it's got to be 70, 80 pages of just the activities, not just for seniors, not just for adults, but for children at a dozen or more different MPS schools that are open all throughout the summer. And so I'm going to go through some of these because here's what's crazy. The same people that will say, oh, well, there's nothing for the kids to do. I got a book. Do you not know? We don't read. That's why people get the Recreation Guide. Now there's nothing to do for the kids. I'll read every activity. I'll just read the teen. I can't even get through it. I wouldn't be able to get through there's so much stuff. Now, is it free? No, but some of the stuff is $5, $10. Get your kids doing arts and crafts and dancing and swimming lessons, how to do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. There's so many activities, and I know you get this book. I don't got no kids in MPS, and they send the book to me. So we're going to go through the Recreation Guide, and let me just offer some alternatives and some opportunity. Stop saying we got to build stuff for these kids. MPS just passed a $1.6 billion budget, and a portion of that money is going to maintaining these recreational programs that our whole community can enjoy. So, no, we don't need to build more stuff. We don't need bad kids to hold policymakers hostage and make people think, oh, my God, we got to give more money to the kids and we got to build stuff. No, we don't got to build nothing. You better take your ass to Pulaski and you better learn how to swim. I'll go swimming with you. I don't know how to swim either. We'll go swim together. I can't swim to save my life. We'll go swimming. Don't get mad if I wear a Speedo. What? Oh. But mamas can go to the damn splash pad in a thong. And you don't say nothing about that, but I can't wear a Speedo to the Pulaski swimming pool to go swimming. I'm more aerodynamic that way. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 FM. If you're interested in the kinds of conversations that you may want to have that we cannot necessarily have here on 101.7 The Truth, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Hughes Views 414. We go live at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's Hughes Views 414 on YouTube. If you go to my socials, you will also find links to the Hughes Views 414 YouTube page. And so we oftentimes continue these conversations in the evening for people that prefer a bit of a different format. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Get
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Sewer Ninjas and J&B Construction. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Guess what, Alan?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you lay down? Congratulations, buddy. You just won $5,000.
Yes, sir. I can't believe it.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to pay some bills, and then I'm going to take my wife for her favorite restaurant.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
That was my husband that won that money.
Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 1017 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
'80s Baby says, and I didn't want to think this, but you confirmed it for me. The deceased 22-year-old was at his son's birthday party. I need to sit with that for a second. A 25-year-old woman with 2 firearms went to a child's birthday party and killed the father of that baby. You got another child going to grow up without a father. And we're going to say, oh, it's a deficiency of the black community. Sometimes it's homicide, though, too, when a woman kills I'll never be okay with such things. She clearly was mad at him. Here's what I do when I get angry. And trust me, I get angry. But I also know that a cornerstone of maturity is not acting on your anger when it's at its peak. I gotta clear my head. I gotta walk away, which also can be difficult, especially in a relationship context, because if you're really super angry and you just need a moment because you don't want to say something you're going to regret and you don't want to do something you're going to regret. Sometimes people don't give you the space and the grace to just walk away when you're really angry. I hate when they do that. You're not leaving until I get an explanation. Like, I'll give you an explanation. I just need to chill for a minute. I just get real frustrated with that. See if you're still angry in 24 hours. That's all you got to do. Give it a day. Because if you're really, I'm hopping mad, they messed up my order at Popeyes. Instead of going back up to the Popeyes and shooting everybody because you asked for a 2-piece white meat, just let it incubate for a minute. Just let it sit for 24 hours. And if you're still angry the next day, well, then maybe there's a complaint process. I'm not talking about the Popeyes, but just in general, if somebody makes you really angry, see if you're still angry in 24 hours, because guess what? I'd say 85% of the time, whoever it was that made you, when you're, I'm hopping mad, you just sit for a minute, give it a day, and then 85% of the time the next day, you're like, screw them. They're not worth it. And you have averted a murder, a tragedy, a fight, an arrest record. And I know that's easier said than done, but that is a skill that we need to make sure that people are equipped with. And when you don't react out of anger, see if you're still mad 24 hours. Hell, some of y'all still mad since 1972. That's justified anger. If somebody does something to you or something happens and you're mad 30 years later, well then, okay, file for divorce. But in the heat of the moment, do you know how our community would be reeling if a 25-year-old black man armed with 2 guns went and shot the mother of a child at that child's birthday party? Let's talk to Kathy. Hi, Kathy. You're on 101.7 The Truth. What's on your mind?
Good morning. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. I'm sick of people saying they ain't got nothing to do. Don't have children if you ain't got nothing for them to do. There's plenty of stuff for white kids and Asian kids to do. It ain't about money. Get your nails and hair done. Everybody ain't broke and poor out here, okay? My kids got stuff to do. You know, you can do board games. You can do the Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, baseball, softball games. You look online. You know how to look online for everything else. Recreation your own kids. Even if you don't like baseball, football, basketball, take your kids once or twice a year so they can learn something different. Maybe they'll be a sports player one day. Put them kids in programs. It don't cost much. A lot of stuff is free. Look online for free stuff. Sailing. I don't care what you pay. Don't play the game and have children. If you can't afford them, then you're going to say, we ain't got nothing to do. Well, at a certain time of day, your ass needs to be home anyway. And in the summer, each kid needs to be reading a book, at least one a month, twice a month, reading a book of all ages. I'm not playing with these people out here. I don't care if your kids ain't got nothing to do. There's plenty of stuff to do. It's free. Get on bike rides with your children. Go hiking with your children. Do some nature stuff. Fly a kite. That's free. Almost. You can make a kite, but I'm not looking for free stuff. Stop making excuses up for the inadequacies of your drug addict, alcohol kids, and alcoholic and drug babies, okay? That's where these people are coming from. From 20 years ago, Eric Bond said it's going to be a loss. Nobody got time for all this. You can't walk to the lake with your kids and fly a kite and do board games at home and stuff. Play hopscotch and jump rope, and you can call and make fun of what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, my kids and family are not like that. Okay, that's ridiculous. There's a lot of free stuff. Boys and Girls Club. I don't care what it costs. You can get your nails and hair done and buy all that old fake stuff. Fake it out like this here. You know how to curse and do everything else and con the country and get Section 8 and all this different discount housing and discount food stamps. Figure it out for your children, okay? Because you know at the end of the day, there'll be prisons, not schools for children. And they're coming there. I'm not supporting anybody that ain't supporting themselves, okay? I'm sick of all this excuse. There's plenty of stuff. Like you said, the recreational books, they don't want to take them there. You can show them how to get on the bus. There's plenty of stuff. And you don't have to have something to do all the time. Sit at home and read some books. I was on Amtrak about a month ago, and guess what the 2 kids were doing? Guess what they were doing? They pulled out books and read them.
Oh,
they put them out of their backpack and read them books, yeah, and they went black. I'm not trying to be funny. This is ridiculous. Oh, we ain't got more money. We can't do this. I don't give a damn what stuff costs. Like you said, go swimming so you break into a park at night, your ass know how to swim, because I'm not feeling sorry for a dummy at all. That's parenting problems, too. And then there's school problems. The school got problems. Trust me, they do. If I was a teacher for 20, 30 years and I got these kind of kids, I'm going to start feeling a certain type of way. How much can I work with them? You go to a school board meeting, ain't nobody in there. Even they were complaining about the school board and the teachers back then. I went to that meeting. I only need kids in the public school system.
All right.
It should have been so full that it should have been a line out the door to get in. So stop making up excuses. I work first, second shift. You get vacation and personal time. If you were working, you probably know where your kids at. Get your butt together and stop yelling and cussing at children. You don't have to take care of families and children. That's ridiculous.
Thanks,
I don't feel sorry for none of them out here. Build a jail and put them in there.
Oh, Kat. All right. Thank you, Kathy.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look. It's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Hi, Al.
Hey, how you doing? I heard y'all talking. I think, and I'm just going to give my point of view, I think a lot of men and women are mentally wore out. And y'all probably had somebody in y'all life that just said, the hell with it. I'm not doing this bull sugar honey iced tea. And also, I also feel that a lot of you men and women, y'all are messing with the bottom of the barrel. And let's be honest, it's Milwaukee. What do you actually think you're going to find? What events are you going to? What places are you seeking to find a certain man or a certain woman. And then on top of that, if you did find the man or the woman you want who met all your needs, would you really be happy? So we got to keep that in mind. And then with some of these girls carrying 2 guns, I'm not going to put them with the class of women because that is a different kind of women. And then I'm not going to take a shot at some of the dykes and the bulldaggers, but some of them have lived a very hard potato chip sandwich life, a life of struggle, but that was a life that they chose, because you have some dykes and some bulldaggers who are actually wonderful, but some of them look like a very strong Tammy Faye Baker in a dirty jogging suit where they've been fighting sleep and cocaine all their life, and they had very long nights wandering the street, probably looking through the garbage can through dope, and they have them dark circles on their eyes with them very hard charcoal burnt lips. So some of those then had a very hard time. They just need to be touched by a man to feel love. But I'm going to say this. Don't be so jaded. Don't be so bitter. And don't throw the towel in. You have to step outside your realm and find somebody who fits your needs. But if you're just searching in Milwaukee, you're not going to find it. So don't just throw your hands up and say, I don't give a FUK. You have to broaden your specter, broaden your distance. And then you will find the person you want who say, this is what I do. Let's make it happen, and everybody can be happy. But when you get it, you can't get into BITC mode and act like now it's a problem. So keep on living. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Thank you, Al. Summer in Milwaukee is a great time to learn, exercise, or explore interests, new or long-standing. Inside our Summer 2026 Recreation Guide, you will find hundreds of fun and affordable activities for youth, teens, adults, and seniors. Our dedicated staff take great pride in offering a wide selection of year-round activities, and we love the challenge of discovering new and innovative programs that you'll enjoy. Here's a small sample of the exciting new classes you will find in this booklet. Nature lovers can dig in at what's growing at the Glen and explore the outdoors with forest friends. Food enthusiasts will love hands-on elderberry syrup making classes. And for our young science enthusiasts, we have a new selection of mad science classes for future chemists and engineers. As the weather heats up, Milwaukee's Recreation's free summer playground will open on Monday, June 22nd. Young people ages 6 to 17 will enjoy enrichment activities, games, free meals, and field trips. Many locations also feature wading pools and splash pads to help everyone stay cool. For a full list of citywide playground sites, see pages 22 and 23 of this recreation guide. Later this summer, please join our community for the 19th annual Milwaukee Public Schools Run Back to School, a 5K run, 1.5-mile walk on Saturday, August 22nd at Wick Playfield. Registration details and updates are available at mkerec.net/RBTS. Browse this guide, discover something new, and sign up for a favorite activity. We can't wait to see you at our community centers and playfields this season. Have a safe and enjoyable summer. Signed, sincerely, Brenda Casilius, PhD in Education, Superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to go through a number of different activities for teens and youth taking place this summer. And I am not going to tolerate the excuse, well, the teens don't want to do those activities. And I wanted McDonald's every night for dinner when I was a child. But guess what? It wasn't up to me. It was not up to me. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Just want to really congratulate Mech on this very important venture that y'all on right now. I think it's real dope. I think it's real important, and I'm looking forward to listening to y'all. You know, usually I don't listen to talk radio at this time, but y'all is on here, and it's something that I'm looking forward to listening to, getting some real community on that in that space.
Keep texting, keep calling, keep being you, Truth Nation. Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
As parents, we have a million things running through our minds. Playdates, checkups, groceries, laundry, diapers, work, carpool schedules, picture day, swim team, did we mention diapers, birthday parties, meal prep, lost permission slips, dentist appointments, and the dog that still needs to be walked. So it's easy to make a mistake. Oh, I forgot birthday candles. Sit tight, hon, I'll be right back. We say we'd never put our kids in danger by leaving them in the car alone. Oh, wait, since when are candles not on the baking aisle? But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now and subscribe to 1017 The Truth and see this wonderful smile live every day.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm crazy, but I love you 'cause you crazy too. Radio killer. Red light special. Undress me under the candlelight. Turned up in this business. Watch me do all of them things you like.
Arts and crafts. Abstract Creations Workshop. Using canvas, paper, acrylics, and watercolors, students will engage in hands-on art projects using color placement, shapes, and lines to create delightful art expressions. $10, cash only. Supply fee is due to the instructor at the start of the class. Learn the abstracts of art. Abstract Art, Melva, that's their name apparently, will introduce students to using lines and shapes and acrylics and watercolors to create abstract paintings. Lego Open Build, Lego Adventures. This one is called Teen Abstract. Create abstract art projects with Melva. Teens will be shown a variety of art techniques to create colorful and pleasing art projects. Brushes, stones, string, canvas, tape, and more will be used. No prior art experience necessary. $15, cash only. Supply fee is due to the instructor. This is $15 for the whole summer. Look at it. Youth abstract, paper folding to calendar. I don't even know what that is. Camp creation, paper flower garden, Korean culture and history. Baking. We all scream for ice cream. In this class, we'll make homemade ice cream using the best recipe ever, and it's only 4 ingredients. Who needs an ice cream machine when you can make it from scratch? Your little baker will learn how to make common summer treats and put their own spin on it by flavoring it the way they want. Kids will be introduced to baking, vocabulary, techniques, cooking tools, and kitchen safety. Class is taught by Geneva Bird from Little Bakers Association. Class is free. Some of y'all adults need to take the baking class. Only kind of baking you do is you get baked off marijuana smoke. Cake Pops. Let your little baker craft delightful cake pops. Discover the ease and deliciousness of creating these treats. Learn bakery, vocabulary techniques, and kitchen safety with Geneva Bird from Little Bakers Association. Class is free. Let me see what else. Look at all the cooking classes. I might sign up. But it's probably, is it adults in these cooking classes? I'll go meet me a woman in a cooking class. Man, hey, baby, you want to cook together? Kids cooking camp. Cycling and bike maintenance, mountain biking 101. This 2-week course is designed as an introduction to students who are curious about off-road bike riding. MKE-MTB, join a mountain biking club through MPS Recreation. Dance. Oh, look at all the dance. African dance, pom-poms, Disney dance, ballet, tap, tumbling ballerinas, pre-ballet, hip-hop. Break out of the boring routine into freestyle dance. Learn hip-hop grooves you've always wanted to but never thought you could. $16 for residents, $24 for non-residents from June 23rd through August 4th. $16 to take a damn dance class. Creative movement. Creative movement is a joyful way for children to exploit movement through music, development physical skills, channel energy, stimulate imagination, and promote creativity. Creative movement uses body actions to communicate. I'm going through all the stuff in the recreation guide. I'm on page, what is this, page 5? There's nothing for the kids to do. Yeah, it is. Put them in a hip-hop dancing class. They can bake. There's baking classes, and they learn vocabulary, too. So there's academic enrichment in these programs. And I'm saying this because everybody knows about this guy, and I'm not going to let people get away with, well, there's nothing for the kids to do. We got to build them something. You better build a cake pop. That's what you're going to build. A delicious dessert confection. And your kids are going to learn vocabulary too. African Dance Camp. This 4-day youth camp will explore the art of African dance while enhancing rhythmic and creative movement skills. Experience African culture, music, and dance. Class will conclude with a short performance following the last session on Thursday afternoon. Wear comfortable clothing and bring your excitement for dance. That's going to be held at Riverside for ages 7 through 12. Monday through Thursday, June 22nd through June 25th. Costs $27. Jazz and hip-hop combo, jazz, hip-hop, tap dancing combo, lyrical pom-pom combo, intro to Latin ballroom dancing. Then there's the Mad Science section. Mad Science Bricks Junior Engineering Camp. Using Lego bricks, campers will become junior engineers as they team up to construct different Lego projects, including building bridges and vehicles. Kids will work together, cooperation skills and teamwork, with their fellow civil engineers to build and test different bridge designs. They will learn about strong shapes and structures and use what they learn to create the strongest bridge possible. In our vehicles class, they will get in gear and become automotive engineers. Kids will love building a motorized vehicle and learn how to use gears and wheels and axles to reduce friction to make it work easy. You don't need to do no street takeovers. You can build a car, and then you can use that for a street takeover. This is phenomenal, and this is all in. But the kids have nothing to do. Your little black ass is gonna go build a car. That's what you're doing this summer. But Mama, I don't want to build a car. Well, guess what? Hop in my car, and I'm going to drive you to this recreation class, and you're going to be an engineer for Ford. Mad Science Slime Time. Ooze into gooey hour of sliming around. Create slime using the Mad Science recipe. Take home your own concoction of Mad Science slime. Class is free. It's so much. More in the music. Drums, piano, singing. Guitar. Explore guitar fundamentals in this class, covering basic chords, note reading, strumming techniques. Side note, children that can read music do better in math. Beginners focus on music and chord theory, while the advanced course builds repertoire and techniques for those with prior experience, taught by Mr. D. Combined youth and adult classes Bring your own guitar. Nature in your neighborhood. Herbal essentials, not weed. Calm down. Learn how to make salves. Am I saying salves? Salves, like those, like concoctions, the salve. Salves, herbal incense, and other basic herbal products with Sierra Nicole. This is a hands-on and beginner-friendly class. Fee is per person. Class is non-refundable and not eligible for reduced fees. It costs $6. The Daddy-Daughter Walk. July 7th is National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day. Celebrate the day by taking a 2-mile walk by the beautiful lakefront in South Shore Park. Walk will start and end at Beulah, Britain. Free. Yoga for kids. But mama, I don't want to do yoga. You wear yoga pants. Kids unwind and have fun after school. Join this class combining yoga poses, breathing techniques, and games to build physical and emotional skills. No experience necessary. Focus on confidence, appreciation, and connection. Classes for kids only, so don't bring your big 47-year-old ass into the yoga class for kids. You might scare them wearing your yoga pants. Chess classes. What is this? Traveling Tales for Tots. Regulation Station. Join the Energy Buster Train. First stop, Regulation Station. Engage in fun and healthy activities to release stored up energy after a long day. Sports, obstacle courses, and physical challenges aid sensory regulation. Wear sneakers and comfortable clothing and bring water for an active transition. June 23rd through August 11th, $15 for Milwaukee residents. It is just, ladies and gentlemen, it's a whole book full of stuff. So stop letting them hold us hostage by saying there's nothing for the kids to do. Look at the pages. Listen. Do you hear that? That's the sound of pages. It's so many. Let me just pick her. Oh, the pages are numbered. Here we go. It's 72 pages of activities going on this summer. Adult enrichment, community wellness, aquatics. Oh, let me see if I can get in a swimming class. Let me see. Theater at the Glen, family bug hikes, earth discovery camps, general swim information. What to bring: swimsuit, towel, and swim caps. Swim caps are required for competitive swim. Highly suggested for level lessons to keep hair out of participants' face while they learn to swim. I ain't got that to worry about. Let me see. Look at all these swimming lesson hours. Infant swim, advanced tiny tot swim, little squirt swim, little level 1 swim, little level 2. Where's the adult swim? Level 4 swim, level 6 swim. Oh, here's an old bearded black man in this picture. Which one? Aquatics training. Oh, that's lifeguard training. Adult swim. Adult swim lessons. If you are a beginning swimmer, what if you're a person like me that drowns? If you are a beginning swimmer, this class will orient you to swimming essentials so you will feel comfortable in and around water. You will learn basic swim strokes and water safety techniques. Intermediate swimmers will work on refining swimming strokes. Swimming caps are required. $36. June 20th through August 15th. Aqua Conquer, beginner adult lessons. Here we go. If you're a beginning swimmer, this class will orient you to swimming essentials so you will feel comfortable in and around water. You will learn basic strokes and water safety techniques. Aqua Boot Camp, deep water aerobics, Aqua Zen, H2O flow, Yoqua Fusion, which is swimming and yoga, Aqua Zumba. You guys, this is a whole... We're fortunate to have this. I just wish we would take better advantage of it. The Recreation Guide. It's free. Oh, I bet you they spent $5 million printing these books and sending them out to Milwaukee residents, all for people to throw them in the garbage. There's nothing for the kids to do. You better. We talked about what? You could engineering, making cake pops, making ice creams, paper folding, youth abstract art, all the art programs. Get your kids involved. Do we need to start a fund? Because somebody's going to say, oh, Sherwin, $15 for the whole summer is too expensive. Truth Nation has got $18 billion in disposable income. If you guys are going to use, it costs too much, we'll pay for it. And we'll have a very safe and violence-free summer. Just take a look at the recreation book. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now, subscribe to 1017 The Truth, and see this wonderful smile live every day.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Take a look at our YouTube poll. Let's see what we got here. Did I close it? Sure did. All these commercials on the YouTube. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize how often my program was interrupted by commercial ads. I pay for, so one of my other YouTube channels, I pay for the YouTube Premium with no commercial. It's a whole world of difference, and it's worth it to me. Okay, here's a poll. 107 people voted. How often do you use cannabis? The choices are regularly, occasionally, rarely, and never. 24% report using cannabis regularly. 10% occasionally. 11% regularly. Rarely. 11% rarely, and then 54% never. All right. Earlier in the program, I was making some connections between how some of the chemical compounds in cannabis, there are thousands of them. A lot of them we do not know. They interrupt hormones, and this is all fact. They increase progesterone in women, which is, in fact, a female sex hormone, and cannabis and different derivatives increase testosterone in women. Now, I'm not making a direct correlation between overt masculine and feminine behaviors and cannabis consumption, but when you have a substance that is still largely unregulated, you can manipulate the chemical compounds to have desired effects on people that you deem undesirable. And I say that because the United States has a history of putting drugs and planting drugs, very dangerous drugs, that can have negative impacts on families, on communities, on you name it, the building blocks of society. They can plant drugs that have a negative impact in certain communities of people they deem undesirable. We all talked about what crack cocaine did. Crack didn't just arrive. Why wouldn't they do the same thing with cannabis? So if you didn't hear the other part of the show, the earlier part of the show, I certainly advise you to go and listen to the replay via YouTube. Also, I found it fascinating that knowing that some of the chemical elements naturally occurring in cannabis can interrupt and disrupt human hormones, the Trump administration is moving to deschedule marijuana. I think they may have already done it. And so with marijuana being a Schedule I drug, it was originally said to have no medicinal use whatsoever. Now, we know in certain cases and in certain controlled circumstances, it can ease eye pressure with glaucoma. It can stimulate appetites in cancer patients and other very specific medical uses. But the fact that the Trump administration is moving faster and harder on descheduling marijuana than any of the previous administrations tells me something. And I don't believe that Donald Trump creates policy because it's the betterment of American society. There's something very sinister in every single thing this man does. And for him to be the one to take the lead on descheduling marijuana, some people are so blinded by this, because I know the people that smoke marijuana regularly and often, they live by it, they die by it, they swear by it. And if you even mention how frequently they may partake, they will have an absolute fit. I put a post up on one of my social media pages about the people that, because I don't like walking out of the house at, it could be 7 o'clock in the morning and somebody's smoking weed. It's insane to me. You smell it everywhere. This seems a little bit excessive. I don't want to walk out of the house and just smell alcohol in everybody's breath. And if people consumed alcohol at the same level in which it is now comfortable and commonplace to consume marijuana, we would say that the world has a major, major problem. But for some reason, it's seen as, it's less dangerous or it's safer than alcohol. There's chemical compounds that we don't even know what their impacts are. And my radar is up because the Trump administration wants to accelerate research on cannabis and cannabis products. But I'm wondering why. What are they planning on doing? Are they going to make sure that the cannabis that actually does have hormone interrupters and reduces fertility? And there's some evidence of that as well. And earlier in the program, I talked about how teen pregnancy in the Black community has gone down such a dramatic rate. I am surprised that no one is talking about it because it's a major milestone. So in 1990, the teen pregnancy rate was 60 per 1,000. Well, you may think, that's not a lot. That is astronomically high because now it's 12 in 1,000. And that's a major, major decline, especially for African-American girls. But it's weird, though. Even though the teen birth rate has declined precipitously, maternal mortality and infant mortality amongst Black women is the highest of any other racial group. Something sinister is at play. Now, remember, they're concerned about great replacement theory. The two cornerstones of institutional and structural racism is keep Black people poor, keep them devoid of resources, of property, of opportunity, of good education, and of good health, because health and health care is certainly a resource. That is up there. Making sure that they don't have what is necessary to be successful, and also stifle their children and the developmental environments of children and have them having less children is another cornerstone, because they don't want Black birth rates to outpace white ones. And so if this teen birth rate, which had it continued at that level, the Black population in this country would probably be 35 or 40%. It would be double, if not triple, what it is right now. So, yay, we don't want teen moms getting pregnant. That's fantastic. But why is it not talked about like it's a positive? Because I think there was something sinister at play. So if you missed the earlier part of the show, I would advise you just go and check it out. And as always, do your own research. And then for the last, couple of segments, we were talking about the different activities there are to do in the city of Milwaukee, sponsored by MPS Recreation. I mean, there's literally something for everybody. And it's not just children. There's teens. There's adults, there's seniors, there's a lot of family activities. You got yoga classes, guitar lessons, dancing lessons, African dance. You've got baking classes and cooking classes. You even have science classes. And all these classes is really cool because for the youth classes, they offer vocabulary and academic enrichment. Almost better than summer school because the kids are enjoying a fun activity. You're keeping them off the streets. They feed them. They're out of the house for a little while. And then you got some activities that they'll wear your kids out. They'll be tired when they get home, and you can put the little asses to bed at 7 o'clock so you can have your freak man come over. Because you know you want the kids to go to sleep because then freak man comes. You know freak man, you don't like when freak man comes over and the babies are still awake. Put them in some of the activities. And they're really cheap. $15, some are free, some are $10. You got a volleyball academy, all sorts of sports and recreation, martial arts. You can teach your little babies how to karate chop each other. I'd rather them know how to do karate than shoot each other. Look at all these different. Hamilton, Riverside, Beulah, Brenton. These are all the different. Milwaukee, Marshall. Oh, that's soccer. You got karate classes at Marshall, Riverside, Hamilton. So much stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully we can put to rest, there's nothing for the kids to do. And everybody gets this book. And it's also available online where you can download the Milwaukee Recreation Guide. Thank you for listening. Lunch break is up next.
What's the word, Milwaukee? It's your favorite producer, Meech. Don't just check in. Tap in with Jazz Tyler.
Tap in. We are live and direct.